Her stories have changed so many times about what happens, when it happens, how it happens, with different versions. And each time she speaks, there's a different version.
It's late November 2025. The royal family updated their official website and basically erased Prince Andrew down to a few basic facts. No more His Royal Highness, no long biography, just the bare minimum. Meanwhile, in Montecito, Meghan posts a smiling photo on her as ever Instagram. Then deletes it a few hours later when people notice the timing, right as Andrew's official downgrade goes live. And Harry is stuck in the middle. Watching his uncle fall hard while allegedly hearing new details about Andrew's connection to Meghan that nobody ever told him. Because here's the part people aren't talking about enough. Lawyers once said they might depose Meghan in Andrew's case because she had important knowledge about royal inner workings. So, what did they think she knew? And why would Meghan, supposedly didn't even recognize Andrew the first time, have anything useful to say about him at all? Buckle up, because the story of how Meghan entered the royal world through Andrew's home, through Sarah Ferguson's curtsy lesson, and through friendship with Eugenie but not Beatrice gets weird, fast. Also, here's a key detail people forget. In early 2022, David Boies, Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, said they were considering deposing Meghan as a witness. Not because she was accused, but because they believed she might know things that mattered.
Prince Andrew asked his taxpayer-funded police protection officer to investigate Virginia Giuffre and passed him her date of birth and also her social security number, which I am just, assuming he got from Jeffrey Epstein, but I don't know. Now, this was revealed in a leaked email.
But a lawyer building a serious case against Andrew used close associate anyway. That's not casual wording. That's not how you describe someone who waved hello once at family tea. Now, yes, Andrew settled the case, and Meghan was never deposed. But the fact they even considered it suggests there were connections or her legally. Second, she had been for a period of time a close associate of Prince Andrew. And third, she might have useful observations about how the royal family works behind the scenes. Stop right there. Close associate of Prince Andrew is not the story the public was told. The public story is she barely knew him, met him once, and had almost no contact.
Now, Meghan and Misha hit it off at Soho House at an event in 2013, and they were actually introduced by Marcus Anderson, the infamous Marcus Anderson, and they sat together next to each other at a lunch and they hit it off. One thing I find very interesting about Meghan Markle is she's very good at hitting it off with other women initially. She's very good at being very, very charming and becoming your new firm, fast bestie within a blink of an eye.
But a lawyer building a serious case against Andrew used close associate anyway. That's not casual wording. That's not how you describe someone who waved hello once at family tea. Now, yes, Andrew settled the case, and Meghan was never deposed. But the fact they even considered it suggests there were connections or at least assumptions about connections that nobody wanted discussed out loud. Think about that for a second. Meghan supposedly met Andrew once at Royal Lodge and didn't even recognize him, according to Harry. She thought he was basically staff. So what important knowledge about Andrew would lawyers ever want from her? Boies gave 3 reasons. First, Meghan was in the US, so they could reach.
They continue to dine out on their titles. But Prince Andrew and Fergie, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to move them out of Royal Lodge. Now, obviously, they're divorced, but Andrew and Fergie are a tight couple and a tight unit. They're a very tight family, okay? They've been best friends since their divorce.
Now, let's talk about Sarah Ferguson, because her role is stranger than it should be. In Harry's story, when Meghan went to meet the Queen at Royal Lodge, Sarah Ferguson was there and had to teach Meghan how to curtsy at the last minute. But Fergie hasn't been a working royal in decades. She divorced Andrew in 1996, yet she still lived with him at Royal Lodge. She isn't official palace staff. She doesn't run royal protocol. So why was she the one handling something that serious right before a meeting with the Queen? Now, let's talk about Sarah Ferguson, because her role is stranger than it should be. In Harry's story, when Meghan went to meet the Queen at Royal Lodge, Sarah Ferguson was there and had to teach Meghan how to curtsy at the last minute. But Fergie hasn't been a working royal in decades. She divorced Andrew in 1996, yet she still lived with him at Royal Lodge.
He's probably got loads of friends in the Middle East or the Far East. He could go and have a lovely life playing golf in the sunshine.
Like Juan Carlos went.
If I was him, I'd go and live somewhere else. I'd say, well, I'm not wanted anymore. It's fairly obvious I've got no future here. Start a new life. Yeah. While you can.
While you can.
The royal family has protocol people for this. Staff who literally exist to prepare someone for exactly that moment. If the Queen meeting was truly important, why wasn't Meghan coached earlier by the household? Unless Meghan already felt comfortable with Fergie or had some connection that made Fergie the natural person to step in. And yes, royal watchers always point out the similarities. Outsider bride, heavy media attention, later trying to build business deals off a royal connection. Fergie did that for years, and Meghan's path looks familiar.
Royal Lodge, which is where some other members of the family live, specifically Andrew and Fergie, and Eugenie and Beatrice would spend a lot of time there. And Eugenie and I had known each other before I had known Harry, so that was comfortable, and we were friends with them as a couple.
Now to the part that stands out. Andrew has two daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Meghan's friendship with Eugenie has been widely reported for years, but Beatrice? There's basically no public sign of a real bond. That's odd, because the sisters are close and share circles. If you're truly friends with one, you usually become friendly with the other two. The royal family has protocol people for this. Staff who literally exist to prepare someone for exactly that moment. If the Queen meeting was truly important, why wasn't Meghan coached earlier by the household? Unless Meghan already felt comfortable with Fergie or had some connection that made Fergie the natural?
Is it stupidity? Is it complicity? Or is it just that she has so much on them that they have to play
fear.
ball?
It's fear. She's very, very manipulative. She's very good at playing people. So, for example, William is very against her. I mean, clearly Philip was very against her. But she works on people like Camilla. She works on people like Charles.
So why Eugenie only? One theory people keep repeating is that Eugenie was more social, more plugged into fashion, celebrity circles, and easier to meet in normal high societal spaces. Beatrice was seen as more traditional and closer to the working royal world. If Meghan was building access through social circles, Eugenie would be the easier bridge. The royal family has protocol people for this. Staff who literally exist to prepare someone for exactly that moment. If the Queen meeting was truly important, why wasn't Meghan coached earlier by the household? Unless Meghan already felt comfortable with Fergie or had some connection that made Fergie the natural person to step in. And yes, royal watchers always point out the similarities. Outsider bride, heavy media attention, later trying to build business deals off a royal connection. Fergie did that for years, and Meghan's path looks familiar.
And the terms of the lease say that as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and the repairs and the renovations, then he is within the terms of the lease. And therefore, it is very difficult to remove him or for him to move out.
Now, zoom out to Royal Lodge itself. Andrew signed a super long lease back in 2002, turning Royal Lodge into his private base. It wasn't a working royal office, it was his space, where he could host and control who came in. So, fast forward to 2016. Harry decides Meghan will meet the Queen. Out of all places, it happens at Royal Lodge Andrew's territory. That's not just some random convenient living room. Royal protocol usually doesn't run on convenience.
Was beloved of the late Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mum. Of course it was, but she had a very long history there from before her dowagership. You know, she was packed off there after living at Windsor, and after becoming Queen Consort, she became dowager and was packed off to Royal Lodge, and she loved it there. It was wonderful. I've never liked the look of it, to be quite honest with you.
So, why Royal Lodge? One theory is simple. It creates a clean, official first meeting record. If anyone ever questioned whether Meghan knew Andrew earlier through elite circles, the official story becomes, no. She met him at Royal Lodge and didn't even recognize him. I think it's a perfect shield because it shuts down questions before they start.
Prince Andrew. That is a slap in the face. Prince Andrew, the Imagine you're kicked out of your home and they think, listen, rather instead of you.
Then Andrew's fall in 2025 ties into another weird overlap. Reports briefly floated that Andrew might move into Frotmore, Cottage Harry and Meghan's old UK place after being pushed out of Royal Lodge. Even though that didn't end up happening, the fact it was even discussed shows how tangled these family scandals are. One property linking the two biggest royal controversies: Andrew's disgrace and the Sussex exit.
Well, I think in Andrew's case, he's got to accept his current situation and realise that he has brought about this by his own sort of arrogance, as it were, and that his situation, he has to now rein everything in. But in terms of Harry and Meghan, you can see that clearly they weren't endearing themselves to the king, and so he's taken the call that...
And once Andrew was officially downgraded, the website update became symbolic. Royal watchers noticed they didn't just edit his page, they stripped it down like they wanted him erased. No honors, no patronages, no polished life story, just the minimum, like the palace was saying. Don't look here, move on.